101.5 FM, and this is the Morning Magazine. And today we're talking to Division 3 and checking on what's happening with the local council. And Division 3, our special guests are the incumbent, the Deputy Mayor, Mr. Greg Chippendale, and also running for Division 3 is Kimberly James, and we do thank them for their time. Kimberly, just a caller, just wanted to check, what positions do you currently hold on boards or associations at the moment, or groups?
Oh, okay. Do we have time for me to go through that?
Just ones that you hold any key roles on, any groups.
So I'm currently the president of the Business and Professional Women's Association here in Caboolture. I'm the vice president of public relations for Caboolture Toastmasters, the secretary of the Caboolture and Regional Domestic Violence Service. I'm on the board of directors for CEO Challenge Australia, which we facilitate White Ribbon Day here in Queensland. Member of the Special School P&C, Commerce, Caboolture, CBD Traders, member of the Business Think Tank, a participant in the Caboolture Employment Advisory Group, and so they're just some of the organisations that I'm a part of right now.
And looking to add a counsellor to that long list of things to do. A question that was raised at Meet the Candidates at Deception Bay last night, which was a very relevant one, and I think we'll probably cascade that question here too, is that are either of you members of a political party or are supported by any organisations or contractors or building companies at all? And we'll start with you, Greg Chippendale. Do you have any membership to any political party? No. And do you have any financial backing from outside organisations?
No, Darren, I'm not a member of a political party. I certainly believe that party politics needs to stay out of council, because you've got to deal with all levels of government, no matter of their particular persuasion. When it comes to funding, my campaign is totally self-funded. We don't do fundraising. We don't collect money from developers, and we're certainly not from other business people and that as well. Okay. I don't think I can make it any clearer than that.
Kimberly James?
Yes, certainly. One of the great things, I am a member of a political party.
Which one?
I'm a member of the ALP.
Okay.
One of the great things about local government, and it's exactly what Greg said, it's not about political parties. It's not about political, because you're not endorsed by anybody.
No.
One of the great things that I've experienced since nominating to run for Division 3 is an across-the-board level of support. So we're running what we call a community campaign. So on our campaign team, we have members of the ALP, LNP, the Katter Party. We have a whole community that are coming together and saying, at the end of the day, it is the good guys versus the bad guys. It doesn't matter what political party you belong to, or we all vote, and we normally vote, as certain ways. This is actually about working for our community. In relation to funding for our campaign, we're self-funding, and certainly our mortgage can attest to that. We have had some fundraisers. We do. We had a 70s night, which I think we raised $500 from raffles. I think, and we had a Barefoot Bowls Day, and I think we raised something very similar to that. And more of it, it's not about fundraising. It's actually about engaging our community and saying, come on, if you want to make a change, let's get together, let's work for our community. So the majority, apart from maybe the $1,000 that we've raised in fundraisers, has certainly come from myself.
No funds or supports from developers?
No, not at all. No, I don't actually know that many developers.
Would you support funds being donated by developers? Do you agree?
I don't support funds being by developers. I actually don't. We're here for the community. I think that when you get money from developers, it means something. It may not mean something today, it may not mean something tomorrow, but at some time it means something.
So then further to that, should mayoral candidates accept funding from developers?
So I think we need to make sure that what we're talking about is...
Should any mayoral candidates, for running for the Moreton Bay Regional Council, should any mayoral candidate at this election be accepting funding from developers?
No.
Greg Chippendale?
No, look, as I said, my campaign's totally self-funded. the cost of running a good mayoral campaign, I don't think people realise how big it is. I think it can be as high as $250,000. It might even be higher than that. I know that a number of the mayoral candidates have accepted contributions.
Should they accept contributions from developers?
I can answer for myself. I'd say no. It is legal.
I think that's what. I think whether it's legal or not, I think we need to accept what the perception is, and whether anyone does anything illegal or not, it's what people accept as being right or wrong. So from your position, both of you are in agreement that no mayoral candidate should accept. If it was up to you, no mayoral candidate should accept funding from developers.
That'd be the ideal.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, terrific. What we want to. The next question comes on, and it's probably a little difficult in some respects to answer, but that's okay, we'll go with it anyway. Is the workings between the councils and other councils, and also so the Moreton Bay Regional Council with other councils, and also their association with the state governments and the working of the day. This Moreton Bay Regional Council is a big beast, there's no doubt about it, and it's in its infancy in the way it goes. What can the council do better? And one of the questions was the Council of Mayors. This is the only council that's not in the Council of Mayors. And we'll start with that question first. Greg Chippendale, should the Moreton Bay Regional Council be a part of the Council of Mayors?
Yeah, look, I think in a perfect world we should be. We've had representatives on different Queensland bodies. I was actually the deputy chair of the Urban Local Government Association. So through that you do build up networks and you have contacts and you get to find out what other areas and regions and shires are doing. The Council of Mayors, when Council withdrew from that, there was a significant cost to being part of the Council of Mayors, and the Council of Mayors had put a priority infrastructure list towards the state government, and in turn that was looking at federal government funding as well. On that list we didn't have any of our projects that featured. It was not pointless being in the Council of Mayors at that point of time, but there was no real advantage. We decided that if we did the lobbying on our own behalf and tried to work through all of the issues with the state government and the federal government, we'd achieve results, and we have done that. We've had very good support towards the Queensland State Equestrian Centre. I think from memory it was around the $7.8 million that's come forward there. The rail, Redcliffe Rail, has had phenomenal support there from the federal government and the state government, and council does have to contribute $105 million towards that project, but that cost is works that we would have had to undertake anyway, because the car parking, it's a bit like schools. When a new school is created, council has to contribute towards that external works to make it happen, and the rail project has external works that we'll undertake. In the long term that'll be a good project because there will be more development and density of development close to the rail line, and once again there will be a rating. The properties will be, there will be more rates come towards council to carry out the work that we've got to do.
Kimberly James?
Look, one of the things about local councils, we actually have to work with our state and federal bodies. Part of my previous roles, and I've had the opportunity of working with ministers and such to work with and advocate for certain communities. In relation to the Council of Mayors, I think it's disgraceful that the Moreton Bay Regional Council is not a part of that. And I know that Greg did mention some, the State Equestrian Centre. As a candidate, as I said before, I'm not privy to the confidential meetings. I can only go with what I understand. And I actually understand that we had that funding before we left the Council of Mayors. I understand that that funding was actually there and approved in the Caboolture Council days. So I can't see how that could be a reason for leaving the Council of Mayors. And the same with the rail progress. Certainly that's a project, we all talk about it, the rail that's taken 100 years to build. That's always been there. It's always been on the cards. It's great that it's kind of come to fruition now, although some of the community are thinking, well, how are we going to benefit from that rail link? But these issues actually were before the removal of Moreton Bay Regional Council from the Council of Mayors. The Council of Mayors is an opportunity for all councils to come together to advocate for each other, to work on a lobbying as a greater community, as a greater state. And certainly when I'm elected, then I would be advocating for us to rejoin that Council of Mayors and for the Moreton Bay Regional Council to be a part of that community again.
One of the biggest events that happens in the Moreton Bay region every year is just around the corner, the Urban Country Music Festival, and I know it's very passionate to your heart, Greg Chippendale. There's been obviously there's been some nervous people around the place considering what's happened with the Dreaming Festival, losing Splendour in the Grass back to Byron Bay, which in fairness was always going to happen.
Yep.
Some people are the rumours still going around that Urban Country is going to be absorbed into Woodford at some stage because of the asset now that the Moreton Bay Regional Council owns as the Woodford Folk Festival site, or Woodfordia. Would make sense to put on a music festival to replace Splendour in the Grass, and Urban Country will be absorbed with that. What's your answer to that, and what is your response to people saying that Urban Country music has not been as successful as it had in previous years, in the last couple of years?
All right, the Woodford issue, mate, I've heard no such rumour myself. There's been no discussion that I'm aware of anywhere within council in regards to that. The Urban Country Music Festival was set up here to be very much part of Caboolture. I think if you took that away from Caboolture, that would be a dead set negative. We are, most probably the beauty of having the Queensland State Equestrian Centre out there is we've now got a fantastic venue to get over a few of the issues with where we have had the wet weather in the years gone past. We've worked very closely with the Caboolture Historical Village, all their volunteers, great people, and they've assisted us. They've bent over backwards to make their venue available, and that people need to realise, for a starter, that on the Urban Country Music Festival it's free to go into the Historical Village. I know last time people thought there was a fee to go in there. That isn't the case. It is free. The two concert nights this year will be held in the Equestrian Centre, so people can have an assurance that we're not going to get washed out and everything like that. So there's a lot of positives that can be gained by having it here as compared to if it was ever to move anywhere. I don't think it would be the same. I know many residents that live in Caboolture, but they actually go and camp out there, so they get the feeling of the festival, and they might duck home and do the washing and resupply the esky or whatever the case may be. But look, people just have a great time. It is Caboolture's premier festival. Mate, I'd oppose anyone that tried to take it anywhere other than here. This is where it belongs. This is where it started. I know 101.5 had a big part to play in getting that up and running, and mate, it's ours. It should stay here.
Kimberly James.
I too haven't heard the rumour of moving it to Woodfordia, and I would agree with Greg that it certainly would not be advantageous for Caboolture to have it moved up there. A couple of things that I would also agree with Greg is that the Urban Festival is part of Caboolture. It is a premier event for our community, and it would be a travesty to actually move it from Caboolture. In saying that, it was a travesty to actually move it away from the CBD of Caboolture. Now, I know that we have this the Equestrian Centre, and that's fantastic, but as someone who advocates for all of the community, including small businesses, they were devastated last year. I know businesses that put on extra staff. I'm a small business owner, and I love Easter weekend. It's a big weekend for us, and that normally that increased money that we get in over that weekend gets us through really tough times. And I know that after speaking with CBD traders and some of their businesses, is that the Urban Festival was that time for them. That was the time where they could actually promote and generate some interest in their business, increase their money going through their business, which would then get them through the slow periods. Now, last year, businesses were open extended hours, employed more staff, brought new product and more product into their business, and then sat there by themselves with no one in their businesses. So it actually cost them money for the Urban Festival to be here, to be moved last year. Now, the issues that, they raised those issues, they were told that the Urban Festival was moved because the hub was being built. We couldn't have a festival in a construction site. Now, I love the Historical Village. I think it's fantastic, and it certainly has a great place to play in the Urban Festival. But taking it out of the CBD, taking the festival out of the Caboolture CBD also was a terrible thing for the businesses and the community, of Caboolture. I personally had troubles. I know that we had buses going out there. It was raining. There was a group of like 30 of us waiting in the pouring rain to catch a bus into the Urban Festival. Families were moving. They're going, we're not waiting. We're not doing that. We can have some amazing venues here that can be weatherproof, that can still promote the Urban Festival in our community, but also engaging in the CBD. That's why the Urban Festival was there. It was actually about promoting our community and promoting our businesses and bringing people into our lovely area. I'm not quite sure that is actually going to be achieved with the Urban Festival being so far out of town.
Greg Chippendale, your body language tells me you don't agree entirely with what Kimberly James has to say.
Yeah, look, a lot of the comments there from Kelmany, I just can't believe. We did surveys for 2 years on the amount of businesses that were open for the Urban Country Music Festival here within the Caboolture CBD. I haven't got those figures and that with me, but you could count them on a couple of hands. That is a reality. It is the truth. What we found there was when we went to the CBD traders, there were a lot of businesses that weren't opening to capitalise on what was happening in even our town square when we did run the Urban here. When the hub was being constructed, certainly the town square was part of the construction site and it had to relocate. So there was a lot of effort and that went into it there. The CBD traders back then and now have supported the move to the Caboolture Historical Village and the Equestrian Centre. Now I go to their meetings on a regular basis and I know that this is the case. It would be lovely to hold something right in the heart of town, but if we want this festival to grow like it really needs to grow, then we're not going to be able to operate here. The town square, quite honestly, isn't large enough to be able to cater for what we put on now at the Urban Country Music Festival. When you look at those 2 concert nights, you need a venue that's fantastic, and we've got a fantastic venue, and we need to run with it.
Cherie has just phoned in and she agrees with Kimberly. Urban needs to come back to the CBD, so that's one of our listeners' comments, so we thank her for that. We're running short of time, so what we are going to do now is give you both the opportunity to give us a quick summation on why your constituents need to vote for you on April 28. And also one of the other listeners has phoned in and said they don't have phone number for Kimberly. People cannot get in touch with her. So that's one of the things. So in your wrap-up, you can please, both of you, if you can let people know how to get in touch with you. Kimberly, invite you to go first. Please let us know why people in Division 3 need to be voting for you on April 28.
It is very clear that the winds of change are in the air. It is very, very clear that people are not willing to accept what they have been accepting for the past couple of years. So I am the change that Caboolture needs. I have worked in this community for all families, for all parts of our community. I know what families are facing in Caboolture and Morayfield. And I will work for them, and I will work to bring council back. We feel disenfranchised from our community. We feel disenfranchised from our council. Our streets are filthy, are absolutely filthy. People are feeling the neglect. And whether or not Caboolture is actually being neglected, we feel it. And if we feel it, then that's what we're going to be seeing. And that's not what we want in our community. We want people to feel wanted. We want people to feel engaged. And we actually want to walk down a street that's not full of grime. We actually want to drive down our roads that doesn't have potholes. We actually want to be able to walk down our pavements and people with mobility scooters and mobile chairs be able to access pavements and access parks, which they can't do at the moment. We need this change. We We need an open and active voice in our community. And I'm certainly that voice, and I have been a voice in our community for the past 20 years. And I will take that into the council and make sure that the Caboolture is looked after. Thanks, Darren.
And a contact number for...
contact number is 04 300 51785. But listeners, if you have a computer, you can Google Kimberly James, and the first page of Google probably has about 5 entries of mine, which will give you the contact details. But I'm sure if you call the radio station, they will pass my number on as well.
Indeed. Kimberly James, thanks very much. Greg Chippendale.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Look, I certainly hope that people do vote for me. I've been very, very proud with the level of support I've been given over a number of previous terms. Mate, I care for the community. Myself and the wife, we need to pay back into this community. It's been great to us. It's been great to our family. My family name is something that I value, and I would never do anything to hurt that, and I would never do anything to hurt Division 3 or our Moreton Bay region. I don't intend to go anywhere. This is where I want to live for the rest of my life, so I want to make it as good a home for me as what I can make it. If I do it for myself, and I'm doing it for residents, I'm doing it for my family and for future generations. Every term of council has a lot of things that you would like to see concluded and finished and wrapped up, but I don't think there's any term of council that you get there and all the projects that you wanted to do are being completed. I'll be going out to the residents and letting them know exactly projects that I believe are important, and I'll start delivering that news in the very, very near future. We continually get compliments into my office about different areas within our region. I believe they're truthful. I just can't understand at times. We have phenomenal sporting venues. We have facilities now that are they're the equal of anything in the state. If you look at the hub has got to be a success. We've had over 100,000 people go through it since December. That's fantastic numbers. But the real success of that now is to keep working on the community networks to make those networks go out into the fingers into the community and keep the community coming in there to see what the centre has on offer and what it can do for them. The Queensland State Equestrian Centre, it is an important project. It's something that we haven't had in the past. There's still work to do out there. Once that's, we're booked out continually every weekend between now and the end of November. So that's, a fantastic achievement within itself. Our roads and everything, look, I would certainly apologise to people. The state of some of the roads is poor. We've had 10 years of drought and then got hammered with 2 years of rain. We have increased the budget spending significantly to cover those roadwork projects. The biggest project that I want to see happen in the next term of council is the Brown Street Bridge. The Brown Street Bridge is a link that will go from the northern side of Lagoon Creek over Lagoon Creek and link back in to Pettigrew and down to Mewett. So that linkage is very important, especially for emergency access, because if you need to go out now to get to the north of Caboolture, you have to duck out along Hummerstone Road and Beerburrum Road to get to those areas, and at times that can be very, very congested.
So why then, Greg, has it taken so long for the Brown Street Bridge to actually be started? I know that's one of the concerns from the Caboolture East Enders, that it's been a project since before 2008, and it's been put back and been told that there's been reprioritised. If it's so important, why wasn't it done in the first term?
Well, Kelman,
Kimberly, sorry,
Kimberly,
Greg.
Is it? Sorry. The bridge was planned certainly to start in this term. The budget restraints was a result of the number of other roadworks, and it was put off. It's been put off till 2014. So there were budget constraints that made that decision happen. But the reality is, with the GFC and the slowing down of the market and the development of the housing that was supposed to take place over on the northern side of Caboolture, to make that bridge warrant the amount of vehicle usage that would be justified for that expense, it's some $16 million. So it's by no means a cheap piece of infrastructure. It's probably the top priority here in Caboolture, and if it didn't have the usage, then it wouldn't be value for money at the time. So there are a number of reasons why that Brown Street Bridge has been put off. But I've given people as good an indication. I go to the Caboolture East Enders meeting. I've been going there for 4 years. I just don't turn up one meeting before the end of a term. So I've explained to the people, and I know that they know what the case is.
I'm sorry, guys, but time is on the wing. We do have news commitments coming up, and we'll have to leave it there. If people that do have any additional questions to you, I'm sure they can contact you, Kimberly direct, Greg Chippendale.
Yep.
Good luck to all the candidates standing on April the 28th. The one thing that we do always hope for is that the community here is the winner.
Yep.
Greg Chippendale, Deputy Mayor, we thank you for your time. Kimberly James, again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Darren.
and good luck.